Hello everyone and welcome to Bevins Bricks. I'm Daryl, and today's video, well, you asked for it, so I'm giving it to you. What is that? We're going to be discussing how to ballast a train track. Now I'm going to make this a series of videos because there are a lot of different things you need to know for various portions of the train track. So I'm going to start with just ballasting the straight tracks. So now if this is something that interests you, stick around because it's coming up. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you two different ways that you can actually ballast a track. One is a little bit more simple than the other. But the point that I want to make, and that's why I'm over here at my actual Mills plate table, is because anytime, if you're using Mills plates anyway, if you're using Mills plates and you're going to have curves, you should always keep your tracks 4 studs from the edge. The reason that I say that is because when you are making the curve, you will notice that as you come out, it comes up, and now you're 4 over here. And the reason that I'm saying that you want to stay 4 is because you want the track to physically end where the Mills plate ends. So that way when you bring your next Mills plate over, the track and everything with the Mills plate will line right up and click together. So again, just real quickly, you want to keep your track 4 studs, 1, 2, 3, 4, from the edge of your plate at all times. Now I know it's kind of hard to tell because, well, I already have a lot of ballasting done here. But I am going to show you, like example right here I can show you. There's the edge of your train track, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 studs. Now let's get started with the building. Okay, now that you know that you should always start 4 from the edge, and everybody is aware of that, I am going to show you 3 different ways that you can ballast a train track, a straight piece of train track. And because you already know you're supposed to start 4 away, I'm going to be starting this over here so I can actually fit all my versions in here. But for the first version, I'm going to show you, this is what I call probably the simplest and easiest way to do a ballasting track. You just take your piece of train track, put it down on your plate, and then you're going to take 8 1x2 tiles, or plates, I'm sorry, and we're going to fill them all in here. So let's start taking them and filling them in. Now after you get all your 1x2s ran in there, we're going to take some 2x4 plates, and we're just going to pop them down in between every section. And again, this is the most basic way to do ballasting. Once you do that, simply take a bunch of 1x4 tiles and start running it along every other row of studs, like so. And now keep in mind, I like to use brown, but you don't have to. I've actually seen people use black. I've even seen people use white, and it looks really good. The next thing you're going to run on the outside edge is a whole bunch of these little 1x1 tiles. And that's only if you want to get that fancy. With the simple method, really the only thing you have to do is that. Put your plates down the center, and then you can put a couple random 1x1s on the side and call it a day. And I'm just going to quickly put a few of these down just to show you. Now, there is our simplest version of ballasting. Now let's start with what I consider to be the slightly more advanced version. Now, this version requires the use of a bunch of 1x2x8 plates. And I am just going to leave a small gap between this train and this train track. But what you're first going to start out is you're going to put 2 here, and then you're going to count 2, and then I use yellow down the middle. Mind you, you can use whatever color you want because you're not going to see it. But I use yellow because, well, this is the cheapest color to buy. And when you're building something that's not going to be seen, why not go with the cheapest part available? Anyway, we're going to count 2 more, and then we're going to put 2 more 1x2x8 plates. Now that we have that down, we're going to take a piece of our straight track, and we are going to set that on top of there like so. And now here's where I said you're never going to see that, because now we're going to take 4 of these 2x4s, and you're just simply going to put that in between each one. Now that already has a nice look for ballasting. And there's a reason why you go with this off color on the sides. It's because it's going to give you the ability to add a little texture to it now. And here's what I mean. We're just going to pop a few random 1x1 round plates all over the facade of this. And again, this is what I call another cheap version of ballasting. It's a simple version. It doesn't cost a whole lot. So there, now we got a little bit of ballasting along the edge. And now we're just simply going to take a bunch of these 1x4 tiles and just run them right along, just like we did on this one. And I apologize for the bumping of the camera there. Now with this particular method, I don't use the 1x's on the outside edge. To me, you really don't need to, because you're already adding the texture with the little round studs or the little round plates on the exterior of it. So that is another version of ballasting. But now I'm going to go with what I call the most technical version, and to me it's one of the best looking versions. Now, mind you, this is going to be the most part intensive, but like anything in Lego, if it looks good, it's generally going to have a lot of parts in it. So again, you start with your 1x2x8s. We put 2 of those down on one side. We count 2 studs. We put our yellow plates down because, again, you're not going to see them. Why not use the cheapest part? And then we're going to count 2 more, and we're going to put these on the side. Now that you have that done, we're going to take our train track. We're going to pop that guy down like so. And now we're going to take our 1x2x4s. 2, 3, 4. And now we have to use 8 1x2s. Okay, we're putting our 1x2s in here in all these little gaps. And now we have that filled in really nicely. But here's where I'm going to throw a little chink in the mission, if you will. I'm going to pull this back up because I'm going to show you something that I love to do that will actually give you a lot more detail to this fancy method before we go any further. So let's pop that back up for just a second. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these plates and scoot it in like so. And here's where it's probably going to look a little strange to you guys, but I think in the long run it'll make sense. I like to use wedge plates. And here's the reason why I say that. I like to use wedge plates because I don't care what train track you look at and how natural or how nice they try to keep it and make it. A train track is never truly that clean and neat and orderly. As you're going down the track generally will be moving in and out, so on and so forth, as the gravel goes. So to me, I like to add a few little wedge plates in here and there to add a little more texture to the exterior of it, because it gives you more of a natural look now to the gravel that's around it. Now, mind you, once you do this, we still have to tile it. So let's go ahead and tile this guy in, placing all of our 1x4s. Now we want to start placing all our 1x1s. Now that we have all of our 1x1s placed, I like to come through and place a few random 1x1 round just to add a little bit to the texture appearance of it. You don't have to get carried away. And honestly, I'm waiting on an order for mine to come in, so I can't get carried away anyway. But to me, looking at all 3 of these, trying to show them to you in full camera, this one is my favorite way to ballast. Like I said, this is still a nice way to ballast, but you know, it's okay. It's still on the cheap side, and this one is still on the cheap side, and it's still a very nice way to look and ballast. But now let me show you what this guy over here looks like with all this wedge plate that I'm talking about. Now, keep in mind, I have still not finished this yet, and I'm going to be adding 1x1s along the whole edge. But again, by using that wedge plate, I just want to show you how much more natural, and let me get these tracks out of the way so you can see it a little better. I just want to show you how much more natural the train track actually looks. Now over here is where I was going to step it down and do some water, so I'm changing things up. And then as you can see, I have the 1x1s that I was starting to add, but I'm going to be changing a little bit more of that up. But my main goal to show you is that when you start using those wedge pieces, this is doing the last technique, but then I'm adding those wedges in along with it. And to me, it just gives it an absolutely fantastic look and just all around great appearance to a city display. And anyway, that is my quick guide to trying to do some ballasting. Now, there's a lot of different ways I've seen people ballast, but to me, those are the 3 most common ways to ballast a train track, and they're actually probably the most decorative. And again, I want to keep and remind everybody that you don't have to use brown. I know a lot of people are afraid of the brown tiles and plates because, well, a lot of us have had bad experiences with them cracking and snapping on us. But like I said, I have seen people use white and black, and even though I would rather go black personally than white, they both looked pretty good to me with a finished product and result. So there are other options for using the tiling for the actual railroad ties themselves. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick idea of how you can do the straight tracks. The next video I make will actually be on curved track pieces because that's a little bit more technical for any of these versions. But anyway, as always, thank you for coming to Bevins Bricks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below. And hopefully we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.